Hello.
Nice
How are you?
t-shirt. Nice to see you.
Prepared?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
all good.
Yes. Okay. So I think it's time to start. We will record everything like before. Uh, Thank you for your attendance. You are joining using our new connection. We using the registration process. So all people who join this meeting, they have to register in advance or register before joining the conference. That this is allow us to collect all the required information about the attendance of the call. So hopefully everybody is here. We will make a recording like before, and it's time to start. Today we're going to cover the new version of TrueConf for desktops application, version 8.2. It is a pretty important release for us because it brings a lot of new wonderful features. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in chat. As usual, I will share my screen to demonstrate all the new features. My colleagues will help me to do this. Okay, it's time to stop the slideshow and I will start to share my screen. Just a moment. Okay. Mhm. Rupert, can you see the slides?
I can see that perfectly.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's start. The version 8.2 is currently available only for Windows. Our users who is running Mac OS, like me, or Linux platforms, only have the version 8.1, which is already released. That's why all demonstrations today I'm going to do using the beta version of our application, which is 8.2.1. The minor versions doesn't matter. The most important is that the version for macOS I'm using today is not released yet, but it will be released shortly. But for Windows, the new version is already on our website. So if you go to truecom.com website and click here, download, you will be able to download the new version for Windows. It will be downloaded automatically. You just need to click here. And the new application will connect to your local server, to your corporate server, or if it is installed for the first time, it will display the list of the local servers which you can connect to. So don't worry, users of your customers, they will make sure that they will connect to their corporate server. The new version has a lot of features, so I'd like to start to cover shortly what changed in chat session in messaging platform of us. First of all, we introduced the new roles for chat moderation. Before, only during the conferences, we provided moderator role for participants of a call. Now it is also possible to assign moderator rights, to assign moderators in group chat sessions. There are many reasons to do so. For example, the employee who started the group chat left the company, and we need to continue to use this chat because chat is a collection of knowledges in a form of messages, graphics, or different files. And we always like to maintain the knowledge within the company. And now it is possible to change the owner of every chat and to assign additional moderators to help to control what's going on inside. So let me show you how it works. I will select multiple users, 3 users, 1 group of users, and I'm also looking for a specific guy called Ethan Nelson. Ethan is my colleague Ivan, who will help me today doing demonstration. And instead of creating of a new conference, I click on the 3 dots menu and I will create a new chat. I will call it Super Chat. I can also assign an image to the chat. Let's take this image, for example, and create a chat. So chat is created, and if I go to the participants tab, the participants of my chat, now it is possible to assign Additional moderator roles. Yes, I'd like to appoint Richard as a moderator. I'd also like to give the owner rights to Ethan. I can also do this and just transfer my privileges to Ethan. And it is important to mention that you, as the previous owner, will always have moderator rights unless the new owner will remove such right from you. So it is pretty safe to transfer owner rights within chat. Another change here, it is also possible to hide system messages within group chats. Usually when you join a meeting, leave a meeting, join chat, leave a chat, something going on during the calls or during your collaboration work, you receive such messages, which actually are system messages. They bring no value for us. They are barely notifications about what's going on. Who joined the conference, who left it. We made possible to hide such information. If I go to information about the current chat, now it is possible to hide or show chat events, system information about what's going on with our chat. It is also possible in this version to display the history of a chat. For example, if we have a long history or we started a new chat for a new project, we already shared a lot of project data within this chat, some graphic files, documents, whatever, and we'd like to invite our colleague to this group chat for this project. It is possible to check this checkbox, tick this checkbox, and the new members of a chat will be able to see the previous messages, files, and images. This is important. Another new feature here is about the chat information cleanup. For example, if you'd like to have a written, by the way, if you double click, not on the message, but near the message, let me show you one more time. I double clicking near the message, it automatically creates an action for reply. Hi, hello written. In the same way, in our mobile application, you can swipe to the left to make reply. In the desktop application, we have to double click, or we can select additional actions for the message.
So here we click somewhere in the row, or it doesn't matter where exactly?
Well, you have to click within the message. Just write the message, not the name or whatever, or outside in the horizontal line with your message. Doesn't matter.
In the row.
We specifically display the reply button. If you hover over the message, you can also click the reply button over there. So there are many ways to reply. You don't need to go to the context menu, right click in the message, you can just double click. This is very convenient. Anyway, I'm going to show how to delete the history of a chat. So it is easy to do. I can access this feature from the menu, or I can go to the chat information. And here we have the red button, clear chat history. And because I am still a moderator of this chat, I can control messages not just for myself, but for other participants. And for example, if the project is finished and for some reason I don't want my colleagues to continue any conversation in this particular chat, I can clean everything and it will be cleaned for all parties, not just for me. And we can also apply the same for personal chats. I switched to the personal chat with Ethan. Hello, just give me some feedback. We'll share some information with you, like images, whatever. Hi, yes, hello. And we have some meaningless conversation right now with Ethan. I don't want to have it anymore. And I can also clear chat history from the menu. And because this is a personal chat, every participant of a chat has the ability to clear messages, their own messages, not mine messages, for both parties. I will clear the chat. Okay, let's go back to the slide deck. Another new feature is hiding service messages. I just showed this to you. No need to cover this one more time. Is an ability to drag and drop links from the browser right to the chat. Okay, let's show me one more time. Here we have a link, let's say this one. I can drag and drop it, just clicking on it and dragging it to our application. Once I release it, it will be automatically copy and paste as a text message to the input field. And of course, it is still possible to drag and drop multiple files to the chat like before. Here we are. And we can share files, or it could be multiple files. Let's select multiple files. So we allow to attach to every message different types of files. And actually, it doesn't matter how large file it is. Unless you have the free space on TrueConf server, files will be uploaded to this particular chat. And we create for every unique file a unique ID. That means if you try to forward files being uploaded to one chat, to another chat, or to personal chat with another person, it won't be duplicated on the server. It won't consume additional space on the server. So we understood that this is still the same file. And all employees, when using and forwarding and working with the same file, they will address the same file on the file system. No duplicates would be created. Okay. For next demonstration, I will ask my colleague Ivan to help me because in the current version of macOS application, we don't have such settings for notifications. So I will stop to share my screen. Just a moment. Hello, Ivan. Please share your screen. Okay. So if we go to the settings, it is now possible to change the corner where messages would be displayed. It is a Windows-specific feature. So we're using Windows API to display messages, number of notifications, so it is adjustable now. We recommend to display your messages in the corner you prefer, but be careful because when you share your screen, if the notification includes message itself, it will be recorded with your content and delivered to your parties. And to avoid this, now it is possible to hide the contents of the notification. So what Ivan did, he checked out, removed the checkbox from the sender's name checkbox in the settings. That means that neither name of the sender, neither the message of the sender would be displayed in the notification. The only information would be displayed is that you have something new to TrueConf application. And none of your parties, if you're sharing your screen at the moment, or using some other application with content sharing, will be able to see your message. So let me show you. I will send a message to Ivan, just a moment. You see that in the corner, Ivan selected for the notification, and within the notification itself, there is nothing personal, nothing specific, just the name of our application and the information that you have some new message. That's it, nothing else. However, if we enable those checkboxes, Ivan, please enable the checkboxes. Please remove the message checkbox. Yep. No, the sender name should be there. Just the last one, show message preview. Yes, remove it, please. In this way, we will see who sent us the message, an avatar and the name of the user who sent us the message, but not the message itself. So this is the recommended default mode. It brings you the balance between the privacy and ability not to miss something important when you collaborate with your colleagues. And the last option, of course, is to display message itself in the notification. So Ivan, could you please select the right corner in the move settings? Yeah. So let me send you something. So I send the file and I send a message. So you see that we display using native Windows Wave multiple notifications, and actually Windows controls how long they are being displayed and where they are located. And you can click on every notification to go to a specific chat. If you have multiple conversations with different people, you would be able to see, you will be able to see multiple notifications from every participant. And they are all nicely stacked in a native operating system way. So we are not creating something own. We are using Windows way to display notifications. And if you go to the silent mode in the operating system, we will follow those rules. So if you go to the settings, Ivan, could you please, yes, click and put your mute all notifications. There should be somewhere. Okay, there are somewhere in the settings. There's a mute button. Focus assist probably. So we will follow this, and no notifications will be displayed. So focus assist it is. So yeah. For the next demonstration, let's send you the message. You still receive it because we are important. You have to select important applications in the settings, but it is not purpose of this webinar to go such deeply in the settings. Let's proceed to the new demonstration. Another new feature is called, let me, Ivan, could you please stop for a moment your screen share? Yes, I will share my screen instead. Another new feature is missed call notifications. It is displayed over on the top of every UI element you have on your screen. So if you returned from the launch and you unlocked your computer, or you booted up or powered on your computer, or if you never go to sleep on your computer, but just didn't pay enough attention to your screen, maybe you talk to someone, but when you glaze, when you see the screen again, you will see the notification, which is not hidden. You will always know that someone, one person or multiple persons called you. So let me show you. I will stop to share my screen. Ivan, we need your screen one more time. Yeah, that's wrong. you have to call me, not me. Yeah, I will share my screen because we have the next demonstration, which should go using Ivan's screen. So here we have my user. I minimize the application window. So let's pretend I'm not here. Ivan is trying to call me. So you see that the missed call window appeared. It is a native window of the operating system we're using in our UI. We can use it to call back the person or send him a message. But it will be displayed above all windows unless you close it. And if another user will try to call me, Ivan, could you please call me back one more time? Yes, he declined the next call. Now I have 2 missed calls. And until I go to the call history, the counter is 2. And the dialogue changed. Now I can see how many people tried to reach me while I was away or didn't pay enough attention to my screen. And I can go to the call history, and now I see that Ethan tried to call me twice. And the same happens, I will minimize my window again. If someone will try to invite me to the conference, now we have conference invitation. I missed the conference invitation. However, I can recall this conference, and when I go back to my computer, when I see this window, however, please pay attention that if we're using ad hoc conferences created on the go, if the last person left the call, left this conference, I won't be able to join it. So this conference is not found because Ivan left the conference before I called him back. However, I can see here that conference, which lasted less than 1 minute, was created by Ethan. And this information here is a hint for me that I have to call the owner of that conference, Ethan, because he also tried to reach me twice, and I can't call him back anymore. But that's pretty simple. We also display the special icon for the calls you missed and invitations you missed. This is a new feature. Okay. For the next demonstration, which is about audio sharing, the feature asked from us very frequently. I need to stop sharing my screen and ask Ivan to share his screen because this feature is not available for macOS at the moment. So, Ivan, could you please, open the content sharing? Yeah, stop here. Please don't move. So what we are doing here is very simple. So now we will capture all audio sources of the operating system except for, could you please show the application once again? Just a moment. The idea is that we redesign the dialog for content sharing. We introduced not just the ability to show you not the ability to capture the audio for content being shared,
but also to share the audio, right?
Yeah. Ivan, could you please open this dialog one more time? We also display the preview of the desktop. If you have multiple desktops, multiple screens connected to a computer, you're now able to preview the content being shared before you start to share the content. And if you talk about the audio sharing, this feature grabs all sources. It could be your music playback in the background. It could be notifications from other messengers. So we mix all other sources in the system except for TrueConf conference. That's allow us not to send the audio loop, the echo to participants of the call, but to capture all other system sounds. That also works with the presentations. You can share your audio while delivering PowerPoint or PDF files. So this is pretty useful for teachers because you are now able to express yourself and collaborate, not visually, but audioly as well. So your parties will be able to hear what you are doing. For example, you can share your music editor or some video editor, and you can play back the effects and the sound of music, whatever. And the parties will be able to hear this and give you the feedback. You are not only limited to showing the content, you can share the audio.
That's really great.
So it's time to enable this. So now we can hear the Ivan, his content, Rodolphe, and me. All sources submit together, mixed sort of together.
That was a very demanded feature.
It is. Finally, it is done. It will be available on all platforms. So now it is only available for Windows, and shortly it will be available for Linux, different versions of Linux and macOS. Okay, it's time to share my screen. Thank you, Ivan. Just a moment. Next feature is noise suppression. So in audio settings of our application, we added the new checkbox, which is noise suppression. And this noise suppression is pretty efficient. It is AI-based noise suppression, which works in full duplex mode. That means it successfully eliminates all noises except the voice of your voice, even if someone else is talking to you. And it also eliminates the noises when you are talking to the microphone. So it works in both directions and doesn't matter if you are talking right now or not talking, all noises are being eliminated. So it's, I will try to demonstrate this to you. I will stop to share my screen. And I have here the screwdriver, which is pretty noisy. You can hear a lot of noise, and you can barely hear me. But I'm not stopping it. I just enable the noise suppression.
without stopping the screwdriver. Now you can hear me. Meanwhile, I'm not able to hear myself because it's very noisy. Let's check it one more time. It's very noisy. Yeah, but with this checkbox, once again, you can hear me quite well.
That's magic.
It works like magic, even if I'm during conversation, if I'm told it continues to suppress all the noises. It is so efficient, we can compare it with proprietary technologies like NVIDIA RTX voice, for example. But in our case, we do not require you to have the dedicated GPU. It works on a regular CPU, and of course, it requires additional CPU resources. From our measurements, you need to have additional core on your CPU. So we utilize one single core on the client computer to work this feature, to allow this feature to work. It's a lot of resources, we understood, and we're trying to make it more efficient, but at least it doesn't require a dedicated graphic card. And this is a big step forward. And it works pretty nicely, and we can adjust because we train the network, we have the data set, and we can adjust it to other types of noises. We also have some other features, AI-based features. For example, I showed you before, we have different virtual backgrounds, so we can use it in our applications, and they work nicely even on all the CPUs, because virtual backgrounds and background blurring requires approximately 4 times less resources than noise suppression. Noise suppression is pretty hungry algorithm, but on our computers, we always have a lot of cores, so we always have at least one core available. So we can use the virtual backgrounds, so we can use the noise suppression to make the experience of our cores better, to make our audio better, and to have such privacy features like virtual background. Because we're not applying this algorithm on the server. Server is focused to provide nice conferencing experience. It doesn't take the burden of the AI features. All AI features are limited to the endpoint, the user computer, because we always have resources on user side, and we always are limited with resources on the server side, and we understood this. Okay, I will disable this. Just a moment. Next slide. I will share my screen once again. Before this version, before version 8.2, we had actually it was a bug. It's not a feature. If you try to display the PDF file or PowerPoint file, and if you try to record on your side or participant side conference in the client application, the slide deck won't be recorded. So now this fixed. So show you. Just a moment. Let's start the new conference here. Let's upload the PDF file. I have the slide deck for this webinar here. Once I start this presentation, okay. Now I start the recording. You can see that we have the recording icon in the corner is active. So now we record the conference. I can change slides. I can change layouts. I can make myself bigger, for example, and continue to change slides. And everything is being recorded in the same way I see it. It will be presented in the recording of this call. So I stop the content sharing and I stop the recording. Now I can play back the recording. So I will show you where it is. Actually, all recordings are located in the menu of our application under the video records section. So here we have the last recording. Let's play it back. I will disable the speaker. So we are able to play back all the recordings within the application. So we don't need to open third-party applications. and all slides are being recorded in a nice quality, and the layout is strictly following the layout user selected. So if user change layouts, these changes are also recorded. That's the new feature. Okay. Any questions so far? No questions. Next change is
the time
about.
already for the questions?
You can ask questions anytime. So, Rudolf, please tell me if any questions will be.
Okay, so if any questions, please don't hesitate, guys. You can send it in chat, and we are going to read it.
We also changed the layout a little bit in a conference scheduler. So within the application, just to remind you, we have the address book, we have chats and group chats type, and we have a scheduler. Here we can start the ad hoc meeting which we initialize on the go. And now we added the third section here is virtual rooms. Before this update, virtual rooms were nested under the scheduled conferences tab, which is a little bit strange because virtual rooms, they don't have the start times and date. They're not recurring, they should be always available. So it was strange to see the virtual rooms next to the calendar. So that's why we created the new tab without calendar, which displays the list of all virtual rooms you have created. It is also the place where you can see the meetings being scheduled using Outlook plugin we showed to you during our last webinar about TrueConf Server 5.2. And in the future, we will have additional tabs here to filter conferences and virtual rooms created by different plugins. So it will be possible to see virtual rooms created by an Outlook plugin or virtual rooms created by yourself, for example. This is also a new feature. Another improvement is about how we treat the camera and how we work the camera. And this is a pretty important change for us because we had to change, we had to agree with the new idea. We never used it before, and we never treated the camera like this before. And actually, we're doing this because a lot of customers ask us to do this. Let me show you. By default, for many years, this is our application. I'm not on a call. I'm just looking at my address book. So for more than 10 years, when you open TrueConf application, you always see yourself, always. We try to capture the camera, and we were trying not to release the camera until you exit the application, because we so many times when another application, usually it was Skype for Business client, which took the camera and didn't release it after the call is ended, and customers of TrueConf won't be able to use the camera. The camera was busy with another application. It is only Windows-specific feature. In other operating systems like Linux and Mac, multiple applications are able to use the same camera. There is no limits for this. But for Windows, it was a problem. And we designed our application first to hold the camera, and secondly to be different. And we decided to display camera everywhere in this book. Now it is possible to disable this functionality finally, and we have introduced this small button in your address book. Once you hit it, it will save this setting. The application will save the settings forever, so you don't need to do this one more time. So your camera won't be displayed in the address book anymore. You will always see the address book. Actually, address book is going to be hidden very soon because most of our communications usually happen through the chat sessions, and chat panel will be the first panel because personally, I don't remember when I opened the address book last time. I always collaborate with my colleagues through the chat sessions. I can call through the chat, I can create calls through the chat, I can exchange messages through the chat. So Actually, there are not many reasons to go to the address book. So it will be there, but it won't be placed in the first place. Anyway, you're still now able to hidden your camera in this mode. And another big change is about how we treat camera turning off. So let me show you on the example. If I click here, by the way, this is a new tab. It allows you, before you join any call, without need to go to the settings, to select your camera, select your microphone, select your speakers, whatever. So I can check parameters of my peripherals before going to the call. So if I disable the camera, now it is disabled totally. It is not being displayed to yourself. It is disabled even for you. Because before, let me show you how it was before. If I go to the video settings, now we have this checkbox. Do not show self-view when the camera is turned off in the application. And the default is like that. We always continue to capture the camera just to show to yourself. It is not being sent to the conference parties if you disable the camera, but you were able to see your camera. It's very difficult to grab. So I'll give you an example. So I start a new meeting. I'm in a meeting alone. It doesn't matter how many participants here. But if I disable my camera, that you see that the camera icon is crossed, is disabled, and we're also displaying a specific icon that my camera is disabled. My microphone is disabled, so specific icon here. But it is still very difficult to understand for every user that your camera is not being sent to parties. Right now, my camera is disabled for parties, but it's still enabled for me, and I can see myself, and I believe that I'm still sending my video to the conference or to my colleague. Actually, I'm not, because my camera is disabled. And this psychological, actually a psychological and user experience problem, which is being solved. So if I go to the settings and check this checkbox, which is default, if my camera is disabled, it is disabled on the hardware level. So we are not capturing it, even to display to yourself. So we are releasing the camera, we are not capturing it anymore. If you enable the camera, it is enabled. So if you see you're moving, your camera is working. If you're not seeing you're moving, yourself moving, your camera
It
is
should be
not
probably
working.
by default like this.
It is should be by default. So please check the update. It should be by default. And now you can be absolutely sure that you are not being recorded because you are not seeing yourself. It's very straightforward, but we never had it before. And by the way, another update here is a new way to control the sensitivity of your microphone, the gain level of your microphone, and the level of your speakers. Because if you go to this small drop-down list, by the way, it could be accessed using the right click. Now it is possible to change the microphone level sensitivity, or you can disable this with automatic gain control. So we will control the gain, the level of the microphone automatically. And the same way for speaker, now we can change the volume for selected speaker. So I can select different speakers and adjust volume for every speaker selected in the application. So don't need to go to Windows settings, whatever, because usually when you are in a call, for example, your operating system has one device as a default audio playback device. That means if you try to adjust the volume on your laptop, on specific buttons on your keyboard, the operating system will always adjust the volume on the default speaker. During the calls, during the conferences, we usually have different audio devices. For example, instead of my larger speakers, I can use my headset. Using this new UI feature, I can adjust my volume in the headset without, in the application without adjusting the level of the speakers, which I'm not using right now. This is pretty useful. Once again, right click here or drop down list here. And of course, such settings was always available in audio settings of the application. but it's difficult for many users to go to the settings every time, so we decided to make them closer and move them here. Another new update is about PDF presentations and PowerPoint presentations. So you can see that when we select the content to share, we see the previews, as I said, and we also can preview the PDF files. And we decided to combine together two different types of content. The content from the desktop or applications, which is actually a live content because you move your mouse, you change desktops, you move applications. It's actually content which change fastly, quickly. That's why we capture such content as a video source. And another type of content is slide decks. We can create the slide deck manually from different files, or we can upload the PowerPoint file, or we can upload PDF files. So we have uploaded the slide deck for this webinar, and now I can go to the edit, and I can select multiple slides and remove them. I can move around slides created from PDF files. For example, I'd like to talk about this first. I don't need this slide, and I can save this to my personal slide deck and use it later. And what is more important, now it is also possible to start your presentation starting from a specific slide, not from the beginning. Let's show us the slide number 13. I click here, and immediately I'm being presented the slide number 13 to the remote parties, not the first slide. So, of course, I can rotate through the slides like before, but now you are able to control from which slide you start your presentation. This is also a new feature. So, for example, if you're a teacher, or you usually deliver the same slide deck multiple times, so you can upload multiple images or PDF files or PowerPoint files to TrueConf application, and create your own slide deck, save it, and reuse it every time. Every slide deck, let me show you once again, will be available here, available slideshows. So every slideshow you have created or imported from PDF or PowerPoint files will be here, so you can reuse them and will remember your changes. So I have imported 20 slides. Now it is 14 because I changed them. I deleted some slides. Now we have less slides in this presentation, 12 slides, for example. So we remember the changes. Okay. Let's go back to the conference.
This is so nice that you can use also PDF and not just PowerPoint presentations.
Saves. I'm using it, even right now I'm using it. This is a pretty required feature. Okay. Additional audio controls, we just showed them to you. Hardware camera turn off. Yes, just explain this to you. Dial pad. This is another feature. If I start the conference or call, here we have the special dialog for adding new participants. And what we added here is the dial pad. So if you have your PBX connected to TrueConf server, now it is possible to invite participants, actually telephony participants, using this dial pad to your conference. It was available before, but we didn't have the dial pad within adding participant dialog. So it was available only in the address book for point-to-point calls. Now it is useful to use it to add, for example, some short numbers. This is my short number on our telephony PBX. So I call myself and invite myself using telephony integration to the meeting. Before it was available like this, tel colon something. We always treat #tel as the way to throw the connection through the PBX being connected to a server. So #tel is has another alternative way is plus. So we always treat plus as the way to tell the server that the following digits is a phone number, and we have to use a connected PBX to address this participant. But now we can use dialpad. If we speak about phones, it is now become even more useful because we added additional ways how you can reach participants, not using our application, not using protocol, but by means of GSM connection or voice IP connection. So let me find Ivan. So now if I go to the profile of the user, I can see the phone here. And once I click here, this connection will go through the PBX connection. It won't go directly as TrueConf connection, it will be a voice IP connection. And if the user has multiple phone numbers, you will be able to see them. We also added the drop-down list. If you hover over the phone icon in the contact list and right-click here, you will also be able to see phone number of the user. So the first option will call the user using our TrueConf protocol, and the second option will call the user using telephone integration. So now it is more convenient to reach persons who, for some reasons, are not using our mobile applications, but they provided information about their phone, cell phone number or phone number. We can reach them using telephone integration on the server side. So on the server side, by the way, it is pretty easy to install the telephone integration. We have dedicated panels in our knowledge base about how to do this. So we can create a special seed room for PBX here, and immediately the dial pad will become available on all client applications connected. Okay, let's check the slides. Yes, the new ways to reach people using phone integration. Another update is about the conference widget. So let me show you. If I go to a call or conference, when I minimize TrueConf application, immediately this widget disappears. It is displayed above all other windows and allows you to maintain the visual connection with your parties because you are always seeing here the person who is speaking at the moment using voice activity detection technique. You can also access camera, microphone settings, disable the microphone. I can send the audio, push to talk feedback to the conference, and other things are available here. Sometimes you just don't need display this widget. Before, it was displayed all the time, so there was no way to disable it. Now it is possible to disable this widget. If you go to the settings, conference settings, we can disable the widget. We also learned how to remember the position of this widget. So if you are sharing your conference to a large LED screen, or you're capturing part of the screen using Vmix or OBS software, this widget can be placed to a specific location and it will stick to this location until you move it. So we now can remember that position, or we can just disable it. So it's up to you. But our recommendation, my recommendation is of course to use it because it is the only reminder for you that you are still in a call and you have some other people listening to you or watching to your cameras. It is useful to understand that you are online and on the phone. Так, preview for the content sources. Yes, we just saw it with demonstration before. Slides editing, deleting, and moving. Yeah, I just showed it to you. And the last one, the last feature to cover is about additional statuses for the users. If we go to the address book, we see that under every username, we have user ID. IDs are very useful because they help us to address people from remote servers. If we know the full ID of user, we can reach him on the remote server because all TrueConf server instances, it is possible to connect them together, to meet them. By default, this feature called federation is disabled, but if you have federation enabled, you can call from one installation to another installation could be anywhere, different continent, different countries, whatever. So no need to deploy TrueConf server generally within large organizations. We can advise different branches to install separate versions of TrueConf server and connect them using federation features. So the ID is very important part of the whole idea of how TrueConf works, because this ID is always unique. It is user ID and some server ID. When you register TrueConf server, you always validate with us the uniqueness of this part. That's why we are not just sending server keys, we're always checking if the server name you entered is unique and not being used by other customers of ours. So this part is always unique for every installation, not for every customer, every installation, even for free versions. So that's why we do the registration process this way. So we are creating actually the global address space for all TrueConf users, even taking into the fact that they are connected to different servers, different instances in different data centers in different countries. So we are still able to call each other. The ID is important. However, for regular users, ID usually is not providing any additional information, because they're already, usually ID is a surname, so they're already a surname here. So we decided that we can replace the second string with some useful information. So if I go to the general settings, it is possible to select what information will be displayed in that second string. By default, it is ID, but for example, we can set the connection status to be displayed in this string, and we will see. Let me show offline users. All users are online, that's strange. Okay. All users. Yes, and Smith. For example, so when connection status is being displayed, for online users, it is pretty straightforward because we are already seeing the green status next to the avatar of the user. But for users connected from mobile devices or offline users, we can see date and time when they connected to the server for the last time. So for Anne Smith, we can see that she connected to the server on 16th of September, and my phone last time connected to that server on 11th of February, almost 10 years ago, 10 months ago. But it is useful information to see how active your users are. But it is still not the most productive way to use the second string, because the most productive way to use this string is to display additional status. Additional status is a custom string every user can set up. So let me show it. I go to my profile once again, click on my authenticated user icon on the left bottom corner of the application, and I can edit here. I can provide my colleagues with additional information about my activity, availability, whatever. For example, I can say I'm on vacation, or I can be on a trip until 1st of November. Actually, I will be on a trip until 8th of November. We're going to InfoCom next week. So this information is definitely very useful for my colleagues. They will see that's why I'm is only available for my mobile phone, not online from my desktop application. Traveling. So this is pretty useful.
Lev, in case there is no additional status, so it will in this case show the connection status, right?
Yeah, it is. That's right. So you can see.
Mm-hmm.
We believe connection status is more useful than just an ID.
Right.
But once your users and customers get acquainted with this feature, they will start to use it massively. If I just show you the local server we use internally for our collaboration and communication within the company, almost every user uses it to express themselves or provide some additional information, because all emojis are supported there. I can insert any Unicode symbol, any char or emoji. So this is pretty useful. So it helps people express themselves and tell additional information.
True.
Once again, I'd like to outline that we also have DND, do not disturb status, which block the ability for other users to call you unless they confirm that they want to call you. So we'll not initialize calls automatically. We will display the message that this user is in DND mode and he don't want you.
Lev, there's immediately a question from Gideon. He's asking if these features with Do Not Disturb and other additional statuses, they are available or plan to be on SDK.
We are currently in a transition. The previous version of our SDK is built above technology called ActiveX. It is a piece of the software which can be inserted into Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Studio development process. And this is ActiveX SDK will be deprecated very soon. Instead of ActiveX SDK, we are rolling out for some of our customers already the new SDK, which is Qt based. Qt is a technology behind TrueConf application. And the new SDK will be cross-platform. It won't be limited to Visual Studio. It could be used on any platform. And currently, we don't have the documentation ready for this new SDK. And the new SDK will support additional statuses as well. So we are replacing the old SDK with the new SDK. It will support additional statuses.
Will there be some special name for this SDK?
Yeah, it is. It is True SDK.
Wow.
Not available on our website yet. We decided to make the name True for it. Okay, that's it. I don't have any other slides. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, it's time to ask them.
I have a couple of questions which I received here privately. By the way, if possible, please send it to the general chat over here so we all can see that. So the question is regarding the size of the files which you send. That's a great feature that you are not limited to send files within some size. But what if an administrator wants to limit the size of the files? Is there any option?
Unfortunately, not on this version. So if I go to the settings on the server side, you can see that for the files being shared, we have specific settings. File storage. So we can only limit the number of days for how long server will store the files and the download speed and upload speed for those files from the server and to the server if you have a limited bandwidth server, but
that's
not
great.
for the single files. So generally, for this specific server, I can upload a file of 127 gigabytes, and it will go through successfully. But we can specify here the remote location, so we can mount in the operating system the remote data storage facility, whatever you have in your network. There are many special devices for data storage, so we can mount it and put the path to that mount here. And virtually, we can have unlimited space for files, but not specific settings for a single file.
Okay, thanks.
If you have such ideas, please share them with us using our Telegram channel. We have a chat for our users. We have a technical support guys. We have product teams who carefully selecting features for the next version. So we always pay attention to feedback. So thank you for the link, Rudolf. So we advise you to join this chat in the Telegram to have direct connection with our team and with other system administrators of the TrueConf server system.
Just one more question. As you are using Mac at the moment, and you were talking about the pop-up layout. but that was specific for Windows, and I understand that today we discussed the Windows version. But for the macOS, as far as I understand, it will be not possible to change the pop-up layout. Is that right, or it's going to work anyway?
We're using the APIs provided by the operating system.
Right.
On macOS, you can select a different location for notifications using OS system preferences. So
right.
Windows allows us to select for our specific application different corner. So one application goes to the right side of the window, TrueConf, and notifications goes to the other side. So you're able to control this. On macOS, we don't have such API. So that's why we don't provide a way to select where notifications will be located, because usually, as I remember, on macOS,
you can probably do it through the system.
Yeah, they're always located on the top right corner. We are not displaying the feeds. Operating system is displaying, so we are not in control of that.
Okay, thanks. Is this version does this version include Hebrew? Is asking Gideon from Israel.
It should. Let's check. We always maintain the Hebrew is a right to left. Not yet. It is an old question. Yes, for right to left languages, from architecture of the application, we're ready for this. So the previous generation of our application, 7 version, didn't support Unicode charts and right to left languages. This 8 version do support this right to left languages and right to left layout, but we didn't enable it yet. So it will be nice if you remind us through your manager about this. We will try to enable it and create specific build for you with the Hebrew. I think it's time to enable it, because it is possible to be done. It's possible, but we don't provide such a language at the moment. So we have to play a little bit, move something around, and it should be fine. It is supported in the core of the application already.
Oh, that's really great to hear.
And the same is true for Arabic language, of course.
So does it mean that we can expect already to see that in version 8.3, or it will be maybe in some upcoming version of 8.2?
8.3 is all the features from the backlog already selected for version 8.3. So if we talk about new features, we have to think about 2 versions ahead. It should be 8.4 or 0.5. So we have a lot of requests and a lot of responsibilities for our customers who already prepaid for some features. So we have to very carefully select the features of the next versions. It usually works like this. We're making the freeze on the forthcoming feature freeze is usually happening 4 months before the release, 3 to 4 months before the release. So the next version 8.3 is already freezed, so we're not able to change it unless something critical will appear. So we can talk about the feature, the new application for the first quarter of the next year.
Okay, thanks, Lev. It seems no more question at the moment.
Okay, that's good. So we have a recording. We will upload this recording to the page of the EU version on our website, so everybody will be able to see the recording. Once again, thank you for your time. Have a nice day, evening, or morning. I don't know where you are. Rudolf, once again, thank you for your attendance. Ivan,
thank you, Lev, for sharing the news.
Yes, we'd like to see partners and customers from the Southeast Asia next week on InfoCom. Me and my colleague Stas, our CTO, will be there. We have a booth on InfoCom Southeast Asia in Bangkok, which starts on 2nd of November and will last for 3 days until 5th of November next week in Bangkok. If you'll be there, we'll be happy to see you. That's it.
Unfortunately, all partners from the Southeast, they couldn't participate in this particular meeting because it's already late night over there.
Yeah, it's 10 p.m. in Thailand and nearby countries, China as well, I understand.
Right.
Anyway, so we will send invitations. We already sent all the invitations to our partners. Okay, thank you. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye. See ya.